Hi guys, AE for Dummies here.
Today we're gonna be, breaking down AE for you dumbasses who don't know, where to begin, but who would love to learn though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're gonna break it down for you guys so that even your 80-year-old grandma can understand. We're gonna make it super simple. So let's say you guys are opening After Effects for the very first time. This is what you would see, minus, the plugins that he has going on over there. Please close that. Yes, thank you. So what you'll do, right, is that you're gonna see those two boxes. You'll usually start from where it says New Composition, so you would click on that. And here you'll be able to see all of the settings so that you can, set up your composition the way that you want it. The way that he has it, we'll leave it like that because that is the format for YouTube, which is 920 by 1080. The frame rate, he has it at 30, even though for standard it would be 29.977. Resolution quarter, just so that it can play in the lowest quality possible to get the fastest preview. And yeah, from there you can also dictate how long your video is going to be with the duration. And yeah, you can go ahead and press OK to begin your composition.
Alright guys, so once you make your first composition, this is how the interface is gonna look like.
It's still my turn.
Oh, my bad.
To talk.
My bad. Keep going. Yeah.
So
Stupid, I'm not gonna let you get the chance.
once you open up, right, this is what you're gonna see. And the first thing that you're gonna want to do, obviously, is import all of your clips that you're going to use. So there's a few ways to do that. He is jumping ahead.
2 steps ahead of everyone.
You're gonna go to File. Press File.
Yes.
Thank you. And then you'll scroll down and you'll see where it says Import. And you can either import a singular file or multiple files if you have multiple. You can click on File. And from there you'll be able to pull. And there's also another way to do that that's a little bit quicker. So if you press Cancel, you can also just double click that left screen over there. And it'll bring up where you can choose your files from, and then you can select all of them that way. He'll choose a file that he already has, and okay, I'll leave it to you to explain the rest. Go ahead.
Alright guys, so once you have your interface, all you're gonna do, right, is you're gonna select your clip, you're gonna click and drag it onto your timeline, right? So you will have your clip ready. And from here, you will have a few options, a few tools at the very top left as to what you want to do with your clip, right? Or things to help you do things to your clip. The very first tool we're going to go over is the selection tool. Right, so either you could click on these boxes individually, or to save time, there are shortcuts, sorry. For the selection tool, it is V, right? So if let's say I have it on the text tool, and I want to go back to my selection tool, I'll just click V, and I'll have it. And what this tool does, it'll select whatever layer I want, and I can move around with just my cursor, right? The next tool we will go to is the hand tool. Or you just use H for a shortcut, and this one is slightly different than the selection tool. It is a little bit similar, except this does not change anything in terms of the placement of where your clip actually is. It will just change your view, right? As you can see, the placement of your, the position of the actual clip does not change. The other tools are not as relevant right now, right? But the next important tool you might need, especially for transitions, is the anchor tool, right? And to access it quickly, the shortcut would be Y, right? So automatically your anchor point would be set to the middle. As you can see, this little white dot right here, that is the anchor point. And what the anchor point does is that's where your transitions would be based around, right? So let's say the rotation, it will circle around that main point, right? But let's say I would want it to rotate at the top left, right? So I would select my tool, I would choose the anchor point, and I would drag it to the top left, just like that, right? Once it is placed there, I can now see that my rotation is based off a different anchor point, The next tool is just the shape tools, right? So we have the rectangle tool, we have the rounded rectangle tool, we have a circle tool, ellipse tool, polygon or star tools, right? Next up, we have the pen tool. This is usually used for masking, so you guys may not need it to begin with, right? But let's say I do want to mask the clip here, right? I want to get Sasuke's face. I would just simply click the tool, make a quick mask around him, and all I'd have, if you see here, is just the clip I masked, right? Or you could also use it to make a shape layer. For example, if I want to make a line, just like that, There you go. I now have a line. It's not very visible, but there's a line there. I could change the stroke just like that, right? Yeah, so that's what it is. It could be used for either shape layers or for masking. And then we have the text tool right here. So what you can use to access the text tool is just Control T. Over here you could change what character you want, like what font you like. Let's say I want just Times New Roman. I will set up Times New Roman. And I will select the color of my text, right? Let's say I want black. I will change the black. This is the fill, and this is the stroke of my text, right? I will make them both black. And if I would like to write something, I will just click on wherever I would like to type, and I will write something. I will write AE for Dummies, just like that, right? Now from here, if I would like to align my text, there is the Align tool. I could align it to centered by clicking these two, right? You'll get into these effects and presets, the aligning tool, and everything else a bit later on. But for now, this is just for the text.
Okay, perfect. And the last thing that we want to cover in this video is going to be some really quick shortcuts that we think are going to come in handy, just to make your editing experience a little bit quicker. So we're going to go over a few keyboard shortcuts that you guys can use. So the first one that we are going to use is Control-Shift-D. And what that is going to do is that it's going to cut up your clips or whatever you have. So let's say he wants to make a cut right there. He would Control-Shift-D. And there you go. It would cut it right at where he placed that. The next one that we have is Control-Y. And what that is going to do is going to bring up a solid. And there you can select the color of it. Press OK. And it would just bring up a white solid. The next one that we will do is Control-Alt-T. That will be your shortcut for time remapping. We will get into time remapping in another video because that's more of a complex idea, so we're going to make a whole separate video on that. The next one will be Control-Alt-Y. And what that is going to do is that it's going to make an adjustment layer where you will be putting all of your effects. Again, going over that in another video. The next one is going to be Control-Alt-Shift-Y. And that is going to bring up a null, which is where you'll be doing all of your movement. And we'll be going that in a separate video. Control-D will be the shortcut for duplicating. Let's say you want to make a duplicate of that clip of Sasuke. You would press Control-D and you would get the same clip on top of it, the other one on the timeline. And the last one that we'll be going over is Control-Shift-C. That will be your shortcut for pre-comping. Again, going over that in a later video. But yeah, those are just a few of the shortcuts that we wanted to tell you guys because we think it'll make your editing experience a lot easier as you learn AE. Also, all of these shortcuts can be found in panels. We think that these are just going to make it quicker, but you could also do it another way, which is by going to Layer, and then press New, and you'll be able to find all of the things that we just mentioned. But we just think that it's a lot easier to use those shortcuts that we just went over to make your experience a lot faster and quicker as you're learning. Okay, so let's say this is the final product of what you're trying to edit. Your video is done, it's complete. Your next step would be to export the video, obviously. So how you're going to do that is you're going to go to File. Okay, File. And then you're going to press Export. And you'll put Add to Render Queue because you're going to render your video to be able to download it. There we go. And so there you can choose the output, which is where you want the video to go to in your library. And then you can also name it by double clicking where it says Output 2 and then changing the name. Let's say he wants to name it Sasuke. He would just rename it, press save, and then you would want to leave it on lossless and best settings for your standard render. So you would then press the render button that's there at the right. Perfect, and it'll give you the render time. It'll tell you how long it's going to usually take. This one obviously rendered a lot quicker than your regular video. But then you'd be able to go to your Finder, and then you would find it wherever you saved it to, and you'll have the AVI file of your finished product. And yeah, I think that should be it for the tutorial for today. We don't want to go over too much, but everything that we mentioned will be in separate videos, but that will be all for today's video.
Alright, yo, take care.
Okay, bro.